All right, guys, I want to talk about a little swing feel today with regard to that moment of collision impact. It happens in 1/4000th of a second, okay? That's that time the club face is hitting the golf ball. We don't have time to think about it. And yet we're supposed to get into an excellent impact position. Think about that for a second. It's a dynamic motion. We're allowing the golf ball to get in the way. So what in the world, when you're out there on the golf course, can you feel when you swing through a golf ball that's perhaps going to have you hit the ball a little bit better? So many of you come into the golf ball and you early extend and you have trouble getting your lower body kind of out of the way. And I feel like that's really the job of the body at the end of the day. We can use it to transport our arms. We can use it as a force multiplier in many respects if we can use the ground. Ultimately, my feeling is with the golf swing, the body tends to get in the way of the arms so much of the time. For those of you that watch my videos, I love to talk about using your hands and your arms and swinging the golf club freely as the body turns. I don't believe it's an arm swing any more than I believe it's a body swing. You know, there's a marriage between the articulation of the wrist, the swinging motion of the arms, and the dynamic pivoting motion of the body. But what I want to talk to you about today is how we can perhaps get you guys to sort of plug yourself into the ground a little bit better at that moment of truth. Okay, guys, it's going to help you with your low point control. It's going to help you with your balance. And in many respects, it's going to help you with your speed. All right. So one thing that I've learned to do in my time is I've learned not to turn my hips through the golf ball. Okay. So many of you are trying to get open and trying to get your lower bodies open, and causes all sorts of trouble right from the get-go, because we have a tendency to transition spin. When we get our body too open too soon, causes the club to get very, very steep. And then we've got to have excessive right side bend and early extension to get back to the golf ball. So I found a much better way to get the pelvis open is to make sure that you load your lead leg. Okay, we've got to have what we call a drift phase in the golf swing as we change direction, keeping the upper body back as long as possible to allow the arms to work down like an elevator in a building. Guys, we get to the top of the backswing and we drift towards the left side, keeping the upper body back. A lot of people call it recentering. Okay, it's a dynamic move where we're moving into that lead side. Okay, you see my upper body staying back behind me as my arms work down in front of me. So it's got a tremendous advantage. Okay, because what you're doing is you're kind of presetting your low point as you transition. Okay, it makes it a lot easier, obviously, to compress the golf ball and hit it solidly if your left shoulder and left hip are moving down towards your left foot as opposed to up away from your left foot, which is what I see all the time. Anytime you spin as you change direction, you're going to release the golf club too early. So we've got to make sure, guys, if you want to get your lower body kind of out of the way and create room for your arms to swing freely through the golf ball, you've got to move into your lead foot to have any chance of moving your pelvis correctly. Got to get into that lead foot. Okay, so when I transition, that's the first thing I'm feeling here as my arms work down, is I'm feeling some pressure moving across into my lead foot. I'm getting my lead knee out above my laces here. Okay, I'm getting that pressure moving forward. If I can do that, okay, I've got a chance. So all I'm doing is I'm drifting. Okay, I'm getting that pressure into my left side, and then I'm going to start to plug my lead heel into the ground. Okay, that's going to allow my lower body to start to work out of the way. It happens naturally, guys. Okay, if you focus on your feet as opposed to your knees or your hips or your shoulders. Okay, so many of you trying to force this to happen and impact that's causing so many problems. I honestly feel like my arms are employing my body. I've always felt that. I think most of you would be really well served just swinging your hands and arms and allowing your body to respond dynamically. But having said that, guys, if you've got a left leg that looks like a spaghetti noodle as you swing through the golf ball, you're going to have some problems with your low point control. So I definitely feel like when I strike the golf ball, I'm feeling pressure back towards my lead heel. Okay, I'm not straightening my left leg. I'm not trying to stand here and just extend everything as I swing through the golf ball. I'm really strictly focusing on where I'm going to place the pressure in my foot. And obviously by focusing on pressure back towards the heel, my left knee and quadricep are going to have to work back towards my lead heel. That's just a byproduct of that swing feel, okay, which is so incredibly important. So it's so much easier, guys, just to make some swings here. You can see my pelvis. I'm going to go ahead and sort of drift into my left side dynamically here. That's what we start to see with good players, where we've got the arms working down in front of us, my back's to the target. I'm starting to obviously move into my left side. But what I've got to do, guys, is from this position, I've got to make sure by the time I get the club to impact that I feel a lot of pressure through my lead heel, okay? Back through my heel, all right? And that's going to provide room for my arms to swing freely to the left side of my body. That's the job of the body, okay? Is to stay out of the way of the arms. If your body's getting in the way of the arms, guys, you're going to have to defer too much to your hands. Going to cause all sorts of trouble. We've got to provide a path for the arms to swing. So when I swing, that's all I'm really thinking about, okay? Swinging my arms freely. And what I'm feeling is I'm feeling some pressure back towards my lead heel. Another great thought is to imagine that you have a bug underneath your left heel. Make it something really nasty and poisonous that you want to kill. Otherwise, it's going to kill you, okay? So what I do is I try and crush the bug underneath my left heel. So I'm moving into my left side. I'm going to go ahead and crush the bug here as I swing my arms freely through the golf ball. Okay, there it is. So let's go ahead and hit a little wedge here and just work on that feeling. And you can see here, everything's kind of pulling me back out of the shot. I'm not moving towards the golf ball. I'm actually moving away from it. That's providing that space, which is so incredibly important. So I know a lot of you tend to fall back as you strike the golf ball this way, where you're bringing your pelvis in and you're falling back this way, which is a huge problem. That's very, very different from falling back this way when your pelvis is pulling you back, okay? So again, just a very, very simple swing feel, guys. I think that's going to make a world of difference. And make sure you feel that when you strike the golf ball, actually at that moment of collision, okay? That's when I want to feel my pressure through the heel. That's when I'm going to kill that bug. I'll do it one more time here. Felt it right there. That felt great. I just feel very, very stable, like I'm plugged into the ground, okay? And I, believe me, have a tendency to drift my legs too much out away from me, okay? I tend to get a little bit slidey. And that really causes problems with my impact position. So it's something I've worked very hard on. But again, you start to use your leg almost like a brake in many respects. Not only are you going to be more stable, not only are you going to improve your low point control, but you're going to generate a little bit extra speed with your hands and arms, okay? So think about that for a second. Crush the bug, guys, when you strike the golf ball. Crush a bug underneath your left heel. I know it's going to help. Give it a shot.